mysterious phenomenon is causing ships to sail in circles. One speculation regarding this weakening is that it's a sign that the Earth is heading for a pole reversal, in which the north and south magnetic poles flip. This has happened many times in the past. In the early hours of Sunday, May 31st, senior officials aboard the oil tanker Willowy were called to the bridge to be told that their ship and four others in its vicinity were mysteriously sailing in circles, unable to steer on a course to converge. It must be easy to panic at sea. The immediate presumption was that strong currents were pushing the vessels around, but there were no such currents where the ships were sailing in the South Atlantic Ocean, west of the South African city of Cape Town. Well, we know what there is at the South Atlantic. It's the South Atlantic anomaly. Now, ships appearing to sail in circles have become an increasingly common and mysterious phenomenon near a number of ports on the coast of China, especially near oil terminals and government facilities, but nothing had been seen where the Willowy was. Researchers monitoring these bizarre circles near the Chinese coast believe they're probably the result of systemic GPS manipulation designed to undermine a tracking system which all commercial ships are required to use under international law. Known as AIS, or Automated Identification System, the technology broadcasts unique identifiers from each vessel, along with the vessel's GPS location, its course, and its speed, to other ships nearby. These signals are even collected by satellites and used to monitor suspicious behavior, including smuggling, illegal fishing, and most relevantly, the trade in sanctioned oil. And the circles spotted near the Chinese coast have been attributed to GPS interference, something which coincided with U.S. sanctions on Iran, according to Phil Dicon, the chief executive of marine intelligence firm Dryad Global. But according to a global analysis of this data by environmental groups SkyTruth and Global Fishing Watch, a number of circulating incidents have also occurred quite a distance away from Chinese ports, with some impossibly appearing miles inland near San Francisco. SkyTruth found the real locations of these ships often thousands of miles away from the circular sailing tracks. The ships were again often actually near oil terminals or in locations where GPS disruption had been reported before. But this was not the case with Willowy. At approximately 1 a.m. Sunday morning, the Liberian-flagged crude oil tanker operated by Singaporean business executive ship suddenly swung starboard and began actually sailing in circles. The ship was unable to steer, and the crew reported that four other vessels in the vicinity were caught in similar spirals, slowly converging on each other for an unknown reason. Quote, GPS interference can have serious consequences, with half of all casualties at sea linked to navigational mistakes, end quote. As Mr. Dicon told Sky News, although such interference targeting other vessels rather than the AIS tracking system is highly uncommon. There are suggestions that GPS jamming has been used by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps to dupe commercial vessels into entering Iranian waters, and Chinese electronic warfare capabilities have been proposed as a potential cause for some ships appearing thousands of miles away from where they really were. The crew aboard the Willowy were aware of these issues, but none of these risks could be feasible west of Cape Town, a long way from the Strait of Hormuz or the contested South China Sea. But the European Space Agency has detected something else there. Nobody knows why, but the Earth's magnetic field, which has lost almost 10% of its strength over the last 200 years, is growing particularly weak in a large region stretching from Africa to South America, impacting satellites and spacecraft. This is known as the South Atlantic anomaly. It's the field strength in this area that has rapidly shrunk over the past 50 years, just as the area itself has grown and moved westward. And over the past 5 years, a second center of minimum intensity has developed southwest of Africa, very near to where the Willowy was sailing. One speculation regarding this weakening is that it's a sign that the Earth is heading for a pole reversal in which the north and south magnetic poles flip. This flip would not happen immediately, but instead would occur over the course of a couple of centuries, during which there would be multiple north and south magnetic poles all around the globe. The impact would be enormous for seafaring vessels whose navigation was based on magnetic compasses, causing them not only to sail in circles, but perhaps not even realize it. Fortunately, as the crew and the company's onshore marine superintendents view, it has been decades since magnetic compasses governed marine navigation. Modern ships like Willowy use something called a gyro compass instead, which finds true north as determined by gravity and the axis of the Earth's rotation, rather than the magnetic north. The gyro compass is used alongside the ship's other systems to detect true north, identify the vessel's course, and steer it. If it was to fail, it could cause exactly the issues which Willowy was experiencing. The crew, alongside the company's shore-based marine superintendents, investigated and identified that the ship's primary gyro compass was indeed malfunctioning. The ship resumed its course safely when it switched to use the secondary gyro compass, along with an old-fashioned magnetic compass for good measure. Executive ship confirmed to Sky News. Now, asked what caused the failure, the company described it as an incidental breakdown, quote unquote, and added, quote, repair will be done at the next port where the cause will be identified by shore technicians, end quote. But what about the other ships in Willowy's vicinity, circling and seeming as if they would converge? A spokesperson for Executive Ship explained the initial presumptive cause of circling for the Willowy was considered to be strong currents, which also led the crew to perceive that other ships were circling too. Now, with so many mysteries on the oceans, it must be easy to panic at sea. This is by Alexander Martin of Sky News. It's on Bended Reality. Tell me what you think. Is it possible that something was going on, making these ships going in circles, seeming to converge on one another? Very strange. It's important to know the difference between magnetic North Pole and geographic North. The geographic North Pole doesn't move, but if we're putting things in simplest form, it's the top of the globe. The magnetic poles are, though, constantly drifting. In recent years, the magnetic North Pole has moved more rapidly than ever before, and researchers with NOAA believe that the magnetic pole will continue its trip towards Siberia, but that it will begin to slow down a bit as we push into this year and next year. Now, the forecasts that the northern magnetic pole will continue drifting towards Russia, although at a slowly decreasing speed, down to about 40 kilometers per year compared to the average speed of 55 over the past 20 years. So what exactly does this mean for the fate of humanity? Well, very little, scientists say. These types of changes to the planet's magnetic poles aren't believed to be tied to any end of the world scenarios, despite what popular science fiction movies would have us believe, according to the New York Post. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.